One day, the old master and two mentors called Wang Lepeng to them and started explaining the first method of the spiritual jewel attainments. Developing mental capacities, Zhang Hadao, wayfarer of the infinite, said, "This method of developing mental capacity is a method of exercise and stillness, mainly cultivated while sitting cross-legged. Now that you have learned the basic essentials of sitting cross-legged, you can practice this method. This method of developing mental capacity is itself divided into 9 steps. The first step is retrospective, gazing, returning to infancy. The second step is clear distinction of the real and the unreal. The third step is developing clarity of spirit. The fourth step is knowing the one way is to go. The fifth step is stopping eating to seek life. The sixth step is changing into new clothing. The seventh step is seeing through the mechanism of nature. The eighth step is revolving time. The ninth step is the gazing practice ascending to the moon. Today you will start the practice with the first step, retrospective gazing back into infancy. Although he gave no sign of it, Wapeng was delighted. No wonder they had me learn to sit quietly so long. There are so many things to study. Now the wayfarer of pure emptiness, Guai Joyai, continued where the old master had left off. After you enter into quiet stillness, singing cross-legged, once random thoughts are eliminated. When stillness reaches its extreme, it produces movement. Then various sorts of hallucinations will begin to appear in your brain. When you close your eyes, you will see very little life-like images, bird flying in the sky, animals running and bounding on the ground, flowers, plants, and trees growing in the meadows, people involved in the work and other activities. When these images have appeared, they are not actually hallucinations. The brain is beginning to represent real scenes you have seen in the past, so it is a memory. When ordinary people remember past things, they do not see them so clearly and graphically. Only after accomplishment is achieved in the practice of entering stillness is it possible to see clearly within the brain. Slowly, then, you should see things that happened a long time ago, things you could never bring up simply by the power of your memory or recollection. Now you will be able to see them clearly. You can keep going back all the way through your childhood because your thinking has gone into reverse. This is called retrospective gazing back into infancy. When thinking has gone back, we say it is a retrospection, but in reality it is gazing, a clear viewing of images. When the scene appear, don't be afraid. You must let them change as they may. It is most definitely necessary, however, to watch them closely and examine them in detail. You must absolutely avoid letting them go too easily without clear perception. All right, now, the mentor concluded, go sit in your hole in the ground. Quiet down your mind and see what scenes appear. Wing Lepang set out and went back to the hole in the ground again and shut himself in. Lighting 3 sticks of incense, he sat on a bunch of straw and went into the condition of stillness. After these few days of practice, Wing Lepeng understood the advantage of doing these exercises in the pit. The incense smoke no longer suffocated him, but instead it created an ethereal atmosphere. After sitting quietly for a while, Wang Lepeng felt his whole body become nothing. Inside his brain was a complete blank. Then all of a sudden, images began to appear. These images were not the same as those that had appeared before. When he was practicing deliberate thinking in the dark room, those earlier images had been deliberately mentally formulated. These images appeared spontaneously. They were very real, distinct, and clear. Following his mentor's instructions, Wing Leping felt no fear, but watched these images closely, observing how they appeared and how they changed, registering all of this in memory. He had no idea how time and space could transform this way. Space changed into a mirage, and time reversed its flow. He sat there quietly. Wing Leping actually went through the experience of retrospective gazing, returning to infancy. Leping had no idea how much time had passed, but eventually the images faded and disappeared. Then he concluded his exercise and got out of the pit. Outside, he saw that it was already late at night. Then he realized the sitting had lasted 4 hours. During his retrospective gazing back in infancy, however, he had seen many places and events spanning several years in time. When Wang Peng told his teachers about his experience and inward gazing during his session of quiet sitting, they saw that he was really intelligent, sincere, and quick to learn. Delighted, they urged to keep him on practicing his exercises to achieve solid stability. We'll keep you on another day, guys. For his part, after this exercise, Wing Leping became even more attentive to his study of the Taoism. One day, when he went into the pit to sit, not long after entering into stillness, both eyes gazing inwardly, unexpectedly he found that he was unable actually think again. He was able to see everything in his own body from the outside to the inside. His youthful heart was pure, and he felt no fear, only a sense of wonder. Without getting upset or excited, he continued to gaze, observing every detail. When Wang Leping finished his exercise session, he reported his inner vision to the 3 masters. Exchanging meaningful glances, the old wizard smiled without saying anything, realizing that they must have something to tell him about this experience. However, Leping asked the mentors for a pointer. The wayfarer of pure emptiness laughed and said, "You have again progressed further in quiet sitting. Now you have already entered into the second step of method of developing mental capacities, which is called clear distinction of the real and the unreal. When you gaze inwardly at your own body after entering stillness, even though your eyes are closed and you are in utter darkness, you can see the internal conditions of your body, your own body, with perfect clarity. When this happens, you should never be startled or frightened, and you should not engage in any activity. You must observe and make distinctions with accurate precision. See exactly how many bones are in your head. What shape are they, and how have they joined together? What are the shapes of your internal organs? What colors are they? Are there any spots? When can you see these things plainly and register them clearly? Then this becomes useful. This exercise is basic when it comes to diagnosing and curing disease. People may look well from the outside, but when you can see the internal condition of their bodies, you know whether or not they are sick, and where is the ailment as if they are. So this exercise method is called clear distinction of the real and the unreal. Now that you have entered this domain, you should continue to practice in observing the structure of your body, remembering every detail. After a moment of silent reflection, the wayfarer of the infinite took up the thread. After these 2 steps are completed, he began, the foundation of your inner work is secure, and you need more understanding of the principles of inner work cultivated by ancient health practitioners. Inner work cultivates both essence of life, Essence and life. Essence exercises, cultivates the spirit, soul, will, awareness, tranquility, and stability. Life exercises cultivate the energy, blood, vitality, sinews, bones, and skin. The methods of cultivation include both stillness and motion. They are orderly and measured, yet adaptable to accord with natural conditions. The health practices of the Dragon's Gate sect are based on ancient longevity teachings. They are modeled on principles of yin and yang and are adjusted to calendarical logic. Yin and yang are constants of the sky and earth. Calendrical logic is the organization of hygiene and humankind used as a means of mating external yin and yang. The 5 elements and the 8 trigrams with internal yin and yang. The 5 elements and the 8 trigrams, in order to cultivate them, this work is the basis for establishing essence in the life of cultivating essences in life. Heaven and earth and humankind are a universe. The individual human being is also a universe, microcosm. Changes in a microcosm, macrocosm, the universe at large, all affect the microcosm, the little universe of the individual, and changes in the microcosm all correspond to changes in the macrocosm. Refining practices cultivated on the model of the moon circling the earth result in this microcycle, penetrating the 3 phases, breaking through the gate of heaven, opening the celestial eye, and descending through the 3 fields, Elysian. When the aperture of the celestial eye opens, then inner vision is possible. The aperture of the celestial eye consists of 3 points on one line. From outside to inside, combining to form the higher elixir. The aperture is between the eyebrows. The eye, which is popularly referred to as nirvana, inside that, and the heaven, also called celestial mirror, is behind that. The aperture is naturally always open, but the eye has to be cultivated. The celestial is primordial. The aperture is open, but does not perceive objects. The eye perceives things even when closed, seeing back into the celestial. Now that your celestial aperture is open, you are capable of inner vision and thus can successfully cultivate refinement in conjunction with the cycles of the sun and moon. This is followed by external radiation of internal energy, which can draw small animals to you. This practice links with the work of the 3rd step of development of mental capacities, which is clarity of spirit. As the Wayfarer of the Infinite spoke, Wang Leping listened with rapt attention. In complete silence, anxious not to miss a single word. There were still some things, however, that he still couldn't remember, some things he couldn't understand. The Wayfarer of Pure Emptiness went over these points with him in detail, until Leping understood them clearly and committed them to memory. As we are doing right now, with this reading and this listening, and this hearing and this breath, I remember and I learn the things. That's great. Understand these things clearly, and you have committed them to your memory. The wayfarer of pure emptiness said, "The reason I have told you about clarity of spirit before as a precaution. Whatever may appear, do not let it scare you. You need to have clarity and sobriety in spirit. In the previous two steps, the scenes that appeared to you were all in your brain, or were perceptions of inner vision. This is third step. Inner energy radiates outward, so sensitive little animals will come to you following the energy gathering around you. At this time, you must not by any means stir. Do not be afraid, and don't mind them. Just let them be. Although the animals will come right up to you, they won't hurt you. When you have finished your exercise, it will leave on their own. These little animals will mostly be rats and weasels and certain birds, bugs. Sometimes little dogs or chickens or ducks. They're quite intelligent and also have an uncanny sensitivity to the spiritual energy that you're drawing on. Some of them can even gaze into the sky and worship the moon, absorbing the vitality of the sun and the essence of the moon, cultivating some of the lesser methods of exercises by following nature. Just act as if nothing were happening. So you don't freak yourself out. If you don't provoke them, they won't bother you or distract you from your goal. Hearing his mentor speak of such things, Wing Lepang mused, "What a wonder this world is." Yeah. Who would have thought that those little animals, which seem so cute to humans, also have this uncanny sensitivity? They too know how to research the mysteries of nature and have thought of immortality. This is most interesting. After that, Lepeng cultivated the clear distinction of the real and the unreal for a while. Once he had seen the structure of his body clearly, he then practiced the exercise of external radiation, and animals actually did come gather around him, crouching nearby, as if they were listening to him tell interesting stories or sing charming songs. Following his mentor's advice, Lepeng paid the little creatures no mind. With thorough clarity of spirit, he firmly continued this exercise. When he was done, each of the little animals went back to its lair, none of them disturbing another in any other way. Every time he saw this happen, Lepeng felt like laughing. But in his heart, he was taking another step towards understanding the mysteries of nature. Once the first three steps had been accomplished, his mentors introduced Lepeng to the fourth step now. Knowing the one is to go.